Three, two, one. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Miracles Online podcast. This is, of course, our podcast about relationship, dating, marriage, and commitment. I'm Jeff, and this is.
I'm Kat.
Hey. In today's episode, we're going to talk about living by design. Now, this is incredible. Kat's been putting together a huge program in regards to living by design that is bigger than anybody expected, but we're going to only focus on probably a little bit of it today, right?
Yes, Jeff, it's going to be more on specifically on the relationship side. You know, the book that I'm working on right now, When the Mind Changes Its Mind, is, part and parcel of living by design, as is my design and staging company. I just think it's follow suit in all aspects of this living experience. But today we're going to talk about relationships. And, unfortunately, most relationships run on autopilot with unconscious patterns. And we're going to talk about, starting off, the difference between a default or, running on autopilot versus a designed relationship. So, Jeff, I'm going to let you start off. We talked about this a little bit pre-show, how we can build, a conscious blueprint and vision with values and vibrational alignment. Right. Give me your thoughts on this out the gate.
Well, I really do understand that living by design is like a blueprint. It's like a schematic to electronics. It's like a roadmap to, of course, your travels. It lays it out for you. So it's flexible. So that's the number one key thing, is that living by design, you have to have components that fits your lifestyle and how you work.
So there's more than one route. When you say a schematic, there's more than one way to get to that place, but we need to be intentional.
Well, schematic basically tells you how things are, let's say in the electronic world, right? If we opened up let's say an amplifier and we look inside, the only way to really understand how the thing was designed is to have a schematic to be able to fix it. Yes, it's a plan, but in details of why and hows and what the currents and so forth. So let's look at it this way. If we were to do a living by design, the couple of things you would look at is, okay, how am I doing this? How is my relationship currently? And what are we doing about to design this next level?
And maybe, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, so the first thing is, okay, do we have a plan?
Key.
Yeah.
Do you have it? And it's never, that's perfect, Jeff, because what I was going to say is, don't feel if you don't have a plan right now, gosh, I'm living day to day, moment to moment. Yeah. It's never too late to have a plan. We tell our staging clients that, and design clients, it's never too late to design by intention, whether it's your interior space, your head space, or your relationship. Sure, it's great to have it from the onset, but it's never too late.
No, it's never too late. And the truth of the matter is, I believe this, the sooner you can design this, the sooner you can put it into play, implement it into your daily, the quicker you can then start to understand it and start to refine it to work better. Like everything else in life, you have to think about it as, hey, I got this going on. I can polish this just a little bit better. I can make this a little bit more shinier. I can make this a little bit more efficient. I can make this work a little bit more streamlined. So you want to understand those kind of things. Okay, so let's start with one. Is living by design something that we are doing, let's say dietary, okay? Are we getting up and are we fueling our bodies? Are we having good nutrition? Are we having breakfast? Are we having eggs? Are you still pouring in that box of Cocoa Pebbles or Corn Pops, right? Yeah, because the fact remains is, how are you going to contribute into your life and your relationship the fullest if you're waking up eating tons of sugar and then having a headache by 10 o'clock and now you're fueling yourself with coffee? And then what happens is that you start to get irritable around 11:30 because all this stuff is coming crashing down on you. And now your nerve seems to be frazzled, right? And all of a sudden you're short and curt. right?
Sugar crash.
Yeah. Well, you're not quite sure that you're behaving this way because to you, this is normal. All right. Think about that. To you, it's normal, and how it perceives to others may be something entirely different. And I say this from experience because I know I was a guy that was designing websites as a webmaster back in 1996, 97, 98. And I worked for a very nice company, but I worked so much on coding that I sat up and drank 2 pots of coffee a day when I got to the office. So my focus and my blinders are on. And if I was talking to somebody, usually wasn't pleasant because I'm so dialed in and focused. So if you're in a relationship,
I
right?
said geeked. Yeah.
Well, I was beyond geeked at 2 pots of coffee. I mean, to be fair, it was very fortunate that because I was the webmaster, I was the only one in my cube doing this, that everybody kind of understood when I'm in my focus point in my zone. I'm not going to exactly be the chummy chum
Stay away from
on
his
talking with you.
cubicle.
Yeah, it sure was, wasn't
And
it?
you know, I'd like to interject here, if I may, Jeff. Some people might be saying, "Well, what the heck does eating Cocoa Puffs?" Or, you know, maybe I worked. Many of you know I started my sales career. I worked for Fortune 100 companies in Yellow Page advertising, and we had an area manager who started off his morning with I don't know if they still make them, but a big gulp.
Oh yeah, people love
gulp.
big gulps.
That's like a year's worth of sugar the average person consumes. Maybe less now because there's so much hidden sugar.
Right.
But wow, you know what does that do to your performance, to your your crashing midday, etc. And so we're spending some time here on, I call it the MBS, mind, body, spirit.
Yes.
That you've got to take care of this temple, this body, and be intentional on what you put in it if you want it to perform, because it regulates hormones, it regulates moods, it regulates athleticism, it regulates sleep, it regulates so much. Yeah. And we're not preaching from someone who's sitting up on an ivory healthy tower, because I was a sugaraholic. I spent decades recreational drinking alcohol. We both, even in the going on 27 years marriage, went through ebbs and flows of not being really conscious of what was in what we were eating.
Oh, sure.
Tell the story about taking our 13, almost 14-year-old granddaughter, Elizabeth, shopping with you, and teaching her about labels. In the comment that she said when he was trying to show her, is it sorbate or
no, we were doing hot dogs.
Hot dogs. Yeah, we did a traditional time, 25 years traditional for 4th of July.
Right.
Share that
So
story,
we wanted
Jeff.
to do it all American 4th of July type of
apple pie,
food.
Homemade.
Yeah. So we were looking at doing chili dogs and hot dogs. And well, I'm very conscious now in regards to nitrates in those kind of meat products. And what I showed her, she's 13 at this point, I said, let me show you the difference between prices. Let me show you the difference between product quality. And when I pulled up regular dogs, I mean, there was nitrate all through. Yep. Very few ingredients and so forth. And they don't really spell out what kind of meat is in a hot dog, right? So
no, that's a whole other episode. What meat is in hot
but
hot
it definitely went right to see how this organic, non-hormone, non-antibiotic dog has no nitrates in it, and see how they season it and what's all in it. Then I showed her the other basically entire wall of dogs, bacons, and whatnots of what they have in their ingredients, and every one of them have nitrates. And her epiphany was, wow, a lot of people don't read labels, do they?
I was like blown away when he relayed that to me. Yeah. Because it was what a truism.
Yeah.
And how did she come to that? Probably because she notices that most people are they're not intentional. Maybe they haven't been educated. Maybe they're not aware. Maybe some, a lot of people I've heard and read comments that, well, I can't I have to eat fast food and junk because I can't afford fresh. Well, there are ways of getting fresh.
Oh, there's 50 million ways to do
there
this.
are ways of getting
I
fresh.
know I exaggerate that number, but
yeah.
no, here's the key component to living by design. Number one, it goes back to if you're eating healthier, you feel better. If you feel better, you're going to contribute better.
Absolutely.
You're going to participate better. You're going to be clearer in thinking. Now, the other aspect of it is to be in a great relationship. What do? You influence each other. You inspire each other. So these are huge keys that you can do from number one, your dietary. Hey, let's go eat lunch together. Now you're going to spend time. So what are you going to eat at lunch? Oh, we got half an hour. So I'm going to eat a nice salad and soup, maybe half a sandwich or something. Or are we going to go through McDonald's and order 6 pieces of McNuggets, large fries, shake, and that pie that burns the top of your mouth? Are we doing that? Because realistically, by 1 o'clock, by eating that, you're going to be going.
And by the way, what is in a McNugget?
It's some kind of
McDonald's.
It's McChicken.
It's like McChicken.
But I mean, look, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you how to do. That's the key.
We have choices, and it can start small.
Well, it has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But this whole podcast is about how to create greatness in your life, of the relationships, the commitments, and if you're married, how to have a fantastic marriage.
And to share what we've learned. Are we perfect?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. We learn and grow every day. And it is our hope to take what we have learned, on these decades on the planet and decades being married, to share with someone who has a need to know and who's ready to grow and maybe hasn't been exposed. Because that's a lot of it, is people just aren't exposed. They go on autopilot, and develop unconscious patterns because that's just what they've always done.
That's right.
And if you're not having the greatest relationship, health, sleep patterns, sex, enjoyment, joy, all of those things, maybe you need to look at doing something different.
Yeah.
Because again, if you keep doing the same thing and expect a different result, they call that insanity.
Crazy.
Nobody wants to be in that bucket of insanity. So do something different.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Let me take this into the next bucket. Let's say you're dating. You're now going out there and put yourself on the market.
Right. You met someone from following the Miracles Online book online.
Yep.
Someone that has your values and principles and
hot. That's right. And you're getting to know this person and they're telling you all this great stuff. And next, okay, let's meet, let's go have coffee, let's go have lunch. And here, I'm going to give you an example. If we're going to lunch and we're meeting somebody and that person is ordering, cakes and fried and just tons of food that it's just not going to feel
Probably
so
wouldn't
good.
do that on a first date.
Well, you don't
Even
know
if that's
that.
how they ate.
The point why I'm bringing that up is this is going to open up okay, are we compatible?
Sure.
Are we on the same wavelength yet? I'm eating clean. I'm having, fresh, wild caught salmon. I'm having a side salad.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I believe, hopefully you've had a couple in-depth conversations before you met for coffee. If you've listened to our podcast, that I don't suggest that you have endless text before you meet someone. Although I'm super excited to hear about one of the ladies that helps beautify me. She's having a date at a museum this weekend. And so far it's just been texts. And so I'm super excited to see how it goes. But the idea that they're going to a museum and she appreciates the arts and so does he, I'm super, super excited.
Yeah.
And she's one that's read my book, changed her profile to attract a more in-line individual, et cetera. So I'm super excited to hear about that. But yes, hopefully you would have, if that's important to you, and it should be, if it's not now, maybe as your eyes open, it will be, that you talk about things that affect the mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
Because, those are things that we all are.
Yeah.
We're all spirit, we're all mind, and we have this body in this carbon form to navigate our spirit while we're on this planet. So hopefully whatever your values and thoughts are on that you have had some sort of a brief conversation on that to let the other individual know where you sit on that.
And also, here's the part about paying attention, right? We had a great conversation, and now we're on our date. And she's healthy, she trains. And when I see her, she didn't look like she trained at all. Okay, well, that's okay. But then now I'm sitting there,
really lightweight,
and now she's eating stuff that I know is not very healthy. And when I start saying, hey, that's a lot of sugar you're putting into your coffee. Oh, yeah, I only do this, on Mondays. Oh, well, it's like, wow, you can eat all that.
Would you really say that on a first date?
If I'm let's just say this, me and you spend all that time on the phone.
Right.
Okay. If I showed up and you start to be exactly what you told me you were not.
The opposite. Sure.
That's going to raise a flag on me.
Sure.
Like, for instance, oh yeah, I train 5 days a week and I'm taking my fitness very serious and I eat very healthy and very clean. The first thing I order is onion rings. Okay. Then, but let's say 2-3 dates later, I'm seeing a pattern, which is, oh yeah, I only do this. Oh, well, I don't normally do this, but I only do this in front of you. No.
Sure. You want to look at patterns.
Yes.
Now, very shortly after we were married, I made him a homemade lemon meringue pie. I didn't have stevia or monk fruit back then.
We didn't. I don't think we knew it.
We didn't. They didn't have it. I don't think. However, do you want to finish the story?
Okay, so we had 2 pieces of pie. We took one pie and took 2 spoons. She had half, and I had half
of an entire pie.
Yeah, so that's 2 pieces of pie. And you know what?
2 pieces.
I'm going to tell you, folks. I will do that today, still, but I'm not eating a store-bought pie. We're making a homemade pie with organic flours, and we're making it with, stevia sweetener and natural lemon zest. No processed food whatsoever. Right. Now, when Kat made this, the only pie she ever made for me, the whole entire time. Yeah.
Serious?
Truthfully. So with that, it was so good. It was great. Because it was fresh lemons.
I didn't want us eating an entire pie again.
No, but it was fresh lemons, and the key thing was
that was your favorite pie. I wanted to make your favorite.
It was fantastic.
Trying to make a good impression.
Right.
Our first.
She was making,
time together.
And then after she's like, I already got it. What the heck, right? Here's one pie to show you my potential.
There's my potential. I can make pie.
Right now, you get in. Let's see if you can go in the kitchen and re-engineer it for all of us. Off I went. Right. No, but the all joking aside, let's really look at living by design is something that's going to help you to have boundaries. Okay. It's going to help you to have a plan, a schematic of ways that you would like how your life is going to go forward, how to proceed, how to face certain things, how to deal with forks in a road, if there's ever forks. And what's really funny is because we live by design and we have a certain things. I mean, there's frequencies in my house that's constantly vibrating in a positiveness. There's lighting. Our house is very well lit, so we don't hide ourselves in this so-called decrepit darkness.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because you mentioned that briefly pre-show, Jeff, and that really warms my heart that means a lot to you in setting the environment for our love connection and opening the environment for our love connection. One of the things that we did by intention during the pandemic, we were in the middle of a renovation, renovating our home. We hadn't actually planned on the budget that we spent for lighting, but we had a good friend of Jeff's who came, and I think we put in over, between the garage and the house, 100 can lights. And we live in a house that is surrounded by trees, very blessed with that, but it keeps it dark. That and the trajectory of the way the house sits.
That's right.
Front and back.
Yeah.
One thing that I didn't know about back when we picked this house 20 plus years ago is to think about, where does the sun go up, where does it go down, et cetera. So we're blessed with it staying cool because of that. But the downside of that is very dark.
Yes.
So we added can lights to illuminate our living spaces with dimmers that, to me, and I know it has for Jeff as well, made such an incredible difference of how we feel
Sure.
in the space.
Yeah.
So, living by design, if your home is cluttered, unkempt, things all out all the time, and there's never breathing space within your sanctuary of space,
Yeah.
that could be preventing you from being and feeling connected
Right.
with one another. I have a habit of my desk, everything's out when I'm working, but I can't keep it very long that way, because a cluttered desk is a cluttered mind for me. A cluttered house is a cluttered mind for me. So I have to be very intentional about putting things away immediately, et cetera, so that it's not a huge undertaking,
That's
all
right.
of a sudden, because if not, I would be stagnating the lines of our connectivity.
That's right.
So, I was really glad that you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeff, let me ask you this. Let's talk about some simple tools.
Okay.
That one I just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
is, let's say you live in a 2-story home, and you're constantly, we've had a 2-story home, wanted one for the longest time,
Mm-hmm.
was over it after I had a 2-story, because every time I was upstairs, everything was down. When I was down, everything was up. It was just a lot of stepping and a lot of stuff to take up and down and up and down. But one kind of easy fix for that is to keep a nice woven basket or something at the bottom of the stairs and put the stuff in there. And then when you make one trip, take it up. It's the same thing for down. An easy step for, decluttering. Bring paper in. Immediately get rid of the junk mail. Throw it away and take care of the mail. Those are things that everyday messes that can really pile up if you don't have a system for that. So besides that, Jeff, is there any efforts? I know you don't like the word rituals, but let's say any efforts to create the language of love or connection habits. I like that term, connection habits.
Well,
for us.
The reason why I don't want to use the word ritual, because I think that's really limiting and it kind of gives the wrong paradigm in regards to what you would do. It's not necessarily a bad word. I just think that it attaches itself to something different for everybody.
Small habits. Yeah, right. We don't need to elaborate on that, but like small habits.
Okay, basically. So the tools such as dining out, making, a lot of people are now started doing, Wednesday, it's our date night, What that does is it kind of puts a pressure on, okay, I had a hard day, crap, man, and now I'm sitting in traffic and, man, 7:30 is date night. Are you really in the mood? Are you really wanting to do that? So that to me doesn't really work.
Too much pressure.
Yeah, it's too much pressure to go, I have to have a date night. You find a day that is not going to go to work, not going to do all those things, and then you go do something, and that is the event. So there's no, and you have to honor it. And here's the point that I want to make sure that everybody kind of understands, especially from a male to female and female to male. When a man comes back and he's preparing for this event, he's focused on it. However, if he can't bring his energy level 100%, she often gives feedback that is, you're not participating, you don't care. And that's not really the key. So to eliminate those kind of things that's in our own head, basically, what we want to do is make a plan of event. Let's say we go to eat and we want to go to a restaurant that we go get this incredible seafood Cobb salad. We're not going to name the name of the restaurant because, again, you won't have it in your town anyway. But, the point being is that we go there for the purpose of that salad. Okay. Well, why? Because the salad's great and it's a healthy eating, and it's an event that I know that her and I will sit in our area and really like the ambiance, and we start talking and sharing, and it's a relaxation. And after we've done it a couple of times, we come to recognize this is a good place for this. And usually when we do this lunch, it's around like 2:00 in the afternoon. So we don't really go at busy time. We really don't even do it at dinner, do we? We only do it for like or late afternoon lunch. Yeah, we have done it for dinner, but my key point was that how do we use it on something as simple as that to become a tool that helps us in the relationship, right? So think about it like this. Put your focus into, if there's a place that both you and your significant other like to visit, whether it's to be dining, whether it's to be visit or experience of some sort, create that to be part of your living by design. Create that to be part of your norm, because evidently these are things that you're going to start to fine tune and refine when, how often to do this, because you both enjoy it.
Absolutely. And, laced in that, and we touched on it, I think it bears touching again, is be flexible, because, for some there could, there could be kids, there could be ball practice, there could, schedules. If you've got several kids, there's can be a lot of activity, but just, don't ignore your relationship, whether there's kids or no kids, because it can be something as we just started playing chess, right? And you'll ask me, I'll go, yeah, maybe, or no, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like thinking tonight. Let's just something where we don't have to think. But but we've integrated that, and I really didn't like it at first, because he used to be on the chess club, and I'm just learning chess, and I like to win. I know it's an ego thing, but I like to be good at what I do. Maybe not win, but I like to be good.
No, she likes to win.
Okay, I like to win.
She's extremely competitive, and we've learned this with tennis. We've learned this with playing pool.
I like to do my very best.
But the great thing about it is, by doing this, we start to understand each other better. And because of that, living by design in what we do recreationally, she has now softened her take on having to win for it to be enjoyable. And that's great, because that allowed us to bring a game like chess into our lives.
Yeah, I don't get what you mentioned, I think, on one of the episodes where years ago we played Monopoly, and I would get really upset on the negotiating aspect of when we get into hotels and houses and all that. Everything. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not, you got to enjoy the process.
Right.
And really, competition is good if it stretches us to be better in what we do.
Yeah.
But I don't compete anymore. I just compete to be better than I was the last chess game.
Right.
Which, he's told me I was. Oh, it took me much longer to
kick
your butt this time.
That's right. That's right.
Like, oh, good.
And that's the fun factor.
Yeah.
To see somebody who's to adapt, to start to understand the flow in a different way, and then that becomes the competition. But because I play baseball and other sports, I've come to recognize already from my own personal design is that this is not for a paycheck. This is not for a scholarship.
Right.
This really has no other meaning other than what's in my head.
It needs to be fun.
Yeah. And so whatever it's in my head, it's the experience of the game. If she beats me, she's probably going to gloat for quite a few days, but I accept it. Yeah. Or anything. Right?
Well, anything. Well, we used to play years ago Scrabble, and I do kick his butt on Scrabble because I love and always have loved word games. Well,
we need is a word.
Scrabble board.
It is a word.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There's many. Yeah.
At is a word.
You have to learn those 2 and 3 letter words for those killer points. Right. But
so overall, it absolutely, to me, all these little components is the tools that adds back into your living by design, your opportunity to really bond, with your significant other, because these are activities you're doing together. And to me, this is the part that is enriching, feeding the relationship. And this is different. Why I say different is if you're married and you're going on your 6th year, you got toddler, you got a small kid, and now all of a sudden it's for the last few years has only been about the kids. Hey, your living by design needs to reflect that. You still need to use the tools and enhance and participate in your marriage and your relationship.
And be intentional.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So everybody has something to this design.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want you to take away from this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you come up with any kind of a poem?
Actually, yes. Like I did write a poem.
Okay, so this is where we're coming down to wrapping it up. And before we go to the poem, I just want everybody to know, thank you for tuning in, Miracles Online. I want you to, of course, like and subscribe, but the key thing here is to share it. You want to share this because the more people know how to love and how to get along, the better we all are.
Absolutely.
Right.
And,
So
and
like
it helps us.
Yep.
Liking, commenting, and sharing, I guess, is the biggest thing. It
Oh, yeah.
helps the algorithms, so it helps us to be able to
Yeah.
bring you more episodes.
Yeah, and comment.
And comment. Let us know. Hey, they haven't talked about this yet. I'm really struggling with this. Let us know. Shoot us a note, email, comment.
That's right.
Let us know, because we would love to hear from you and
Yes.
share with you.
Yes. And of course, if you want to get back in the dating world and you're single, Miracles Online book on You Publishing, right here,
Online.
written by my beautiful, lovely little bear, right? And I actually was able to put a chapter in there telling my part of that story too. So I get to be part of the Miracles Online.
Well, you were my Miracle Online.
That's right.
So yeah.
And this is where we want to bring that kind of love to the world. And we hope you have your Miracles Online. And with that, let's hear your poem.
Okay. So this is a poem that I envision it, and I'm going to print it out to remind me to read it to you, my love.
All right.
My love, let's not love by default. Let's choose design. Let's not fall into patterns we never agreed to, but rise into a rhythm that we've both written. A love not stumbled into, but sculpted. What if our relationship was a home we built, not a house that we happened upon? What if love was more than a feeling, but a blueprint of shared vision, a meeting place of values and vibration, of sacred structure and intuitive flow? Let's create effort and love habits instead of routines on autopilot. Let's redefine love language with intention, with Sunday check-ins, with super salads, with forehead kisses, and unspoken yeses in each other's eyes. Let's co-author our connection with presence, passion, and peace. Let's be architects of the kind of love that you don't need to escape from, but lovingly run towards. By design, by grace, by choice, always your little bear.
Oh.
And you can take this and do always and put your name there.
That's right.
And write that for your significant other.
Yeah. And with that, thank you so much for that lovely poem. I feel blessed and loved. My Miracle Online. I hope you find your love, true love. If you already found your true love, I hope you stay hot, lit, and burning with passion. And with that.
Oh, we need to do an episode on that.
Yeah.
Hot, lit, and burning with passion.
Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And we will see you next time on Miracles Online. With that, my lovely bear.
Seal with a kiss.